the right thing with your money isn't easy. We all make mistakes and hopefully learn from them. Here are 11 personal finance lessons I have learned that strengthened my personal finances. Investing isn't like Wolf on Wall Street. At least for most people it shouldn't be. Frantically trying to watch the markets, jump ahead of others, buy the dips and sell at an all-time high. It seems so complicated. The truth is, my investing plan is the complete opposite. It's boring, it's incredibly simple, and I don't really have to do anything with it. The lesson I learned after investing for a while and doing my own research is this: no one can correctly predict the market. As Shelby Davis, founder of Davis Selected Advisors, history provides a crucial insight regarding market crises. They are inevitable, painful, and ultimately surmountable. And because of that, I invest regularly into a diverse portfolio, not worrying about what the market is doing right now and hoping to see slow but steady returns over time. The rich aren't like you think they are. The media tends to show this idea of being rich as well, showing off, I guess, leading a lavish lifestyle. But the truth is often quite different. The Millionaire Next Door, The Surprising Secrets of America's Wealthy, is a book written by two authors who did their own research into millionaires in America. The authors were surprised to find that it was more common to find the wealthy living in middle-class homes, not driving the newest cars and not showing any of the traits we have come to expect from people with that much money. The logic here is that people that are spending their money on new cars, expensive homes, fancy trips, and a luxury lifestyle are, by comparison, neglecting their savings, investments, and financial security. The reason this was an important lesson for me to learn is that despite what I might try and say to myself, I am influenced by what I see in others. The image of the rich I have grown up with would have been how I wanted to be. So having a more realistic version of that goal made a big difference to me. I am no longer striving to have these symbols we associate with the rich. Instead, my plans are more grounded in 1, good financial practices, and 2, the things I actually want for me. You are the average of your friends. There have been many social studies on this topic. It's hard to pin it down to anything accurate, and it can be disputed. But regardless, it was an interesting lesson for me. There is a popular quote that goes, "You are the average of your 5 closest friends." I don't think that's true, but it is provocative. The idea is that if you have a friend that spends their money freely and doesn't have much of a plan, very little to none in savings, and goes month to month by scraping by, it has an effect on what you see as acceptable and normal when it comes to finance. That will have a knock-on effect when it comes to your own personal finances. The same can be said for exercising and fitness or eating habits, fashion, and all sorts of other things. The lesson for me was realizing that we are all influenced. If we weren't, then marketing and advertising wouldn't be as big a business as it is. Think about all the absurd stories about how much a company paid for product placement in a TV show or something.
It's like people only do things because they get paid. And that's just really sad.
This made me try to consider that and look for what I consider positive influence. People that I'm happy to influence my thoughts on how personal finance should be managed, financial goals, and spending habits. Don't ditch your friends, but also don't let them be a bad influence on you. Forget finding a low price and consider the value instead. In almost all circumstances, a saving is a marketing tool. We make jokes about the non-stop sales that some shops seem to have. It's become even funnier to look at things like online courses that are seemingly permanently 80% off. So instead of looking for a big saving, a clearance sticker, or what appears to be a low price, be frugal. That's right, being frugal is different from being cheap. I cover that in more detail in another video. So instead of buying the cheapest running shoes, hurting myself and wearing them out quickly, I will spend more money on shoes that fit properly for my feet and running style. I will go to an actual running shop and have my gait measured and get their advice. Spending more money but getting much better value out of the shoes. It's one of those money mindset adjustments that once you have, it just makes so much more sense. People aren't impressed by your spending. Are you impressed when you see someone using the latest and most expensive phone? Do you feel jealous when that runner goes past with the latest bone conduction headphones? Were you in awe of the frivolous gesture by your friend when they paid for your entire group's meal? Or instead, were you just happy to get a free dinner and you didn't even notice the other things? It can sometimes be different among friends. Your tech mate might be impressed by your phone. A close work colleague that loves cars might be excited to see your new ride. The lesson, though, is not to buy something based on how you think others might see it. A stranger seeing you pull up in a new car with an expensive watch, new phone, etc. won't notice, care, and certainly won't be impressed. Buy those things for you. Buy them because they make you happy. If the idea of impressing others is your motivation, then perhaps don't buy them. Keep the money and use it more wisely. It's not cool to have no plan. Even now, I have lots of friends who I would say neglect their finances. They have jobs, kids, mortgages, and all that grown-up stuff. So yes, they do have something to do with their money. It's usually reactive though. If something goes wrong, or even right for them, the decision on what to do is made quickly and on the spot. Planning is essential both personally and professionally. Planning means analysing and studying the objectives as well as the way in which we will achieve them. So if you reverse engineer that, without a plan, we don't have a method to decide our action, what we're going to do or why. If you have debts, make a plan of action to pay them off efficiently. Make a timeline, get dates, interest rates, do the work to make a plan and then stick to it. If you want to go to Disney World with the family, make a plan. Cool or not, plans will make your life easier and your goals more achievable. Why is the priority to always cut back and save? For the longest time, if an unexpected bill came in or something happened, my reaction was always, what can I cut back on this month? I would always look to take the money away from one thing to put it into something else. I learned my lesson after I started to manage my budget better. More on that later. I put a lot of effort into meal planning and getting my utilities as low as possible. Then I kind of reached a limit. That's when I realised that cutting back has its limits. You will never get your food bill down to zero. Or at least that's something pretty hard to maintain, and it's not how I want to live. So now when the car fails the MOT and I have to pay money to get the thing, I don't know what it does, but it's apparently vitally important to have to work the car, I will first ask myself, how could I make this money this month? There are lots of ways of making extra money. Be it virtual assistant, dog walking, surveys, overtime, promotions, side jobs, and well, the list just goes on and on. The truth is, it can't always be done, but I love that it's now my reaction to think how I can make the money instead of cut back or save the money from somewhere else. It's always the things that you want to spend money on that you miss out on. Mr. Banks of Mary Poppins was wrong.
Money's sound, credit rates are moving up, 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 and the British pound is the admiration of the world.
Money is not best in the bank. I was brought up to believe any money you had left after paying for what you needed and wanted was best left in the bank. relying on the interest and the safety of banks. All respected banks are protected by the FSCS for up to £85,000, and with a savings account you will not lose any of the money. The interest rate will not go into negative numbers. The problem is that inflation exists. The costs of things change, and we are seeing that increase higher than ever at the moment. Interest rates are also sitting at still pretty low rates. So things are getting more expensive quicker than we are gaining interest on our savings. In short, that means that the value of what we have in our savings is going down, meaning that we'll be able to buy less with it in a year than we can now. If this trend continues and you think about that money sitting there for 10 years, it's kind of going to waste. So yes, savings are important. An emergency fund is essential for financial security, but a bank is not the best place for your money. This notion of in the bank is best goes hand in hand with a lot of other traditional thoughts about money, like the ideal 9 to 5, and if you work hard, you'll get rewarded. It's not always true. The lesson I learned here wasn't about what is the best place for my money. Instead, it was realizing that other options existed, and honestly, that the traditions and way I was brought up with to deal with money and income needed to be brought up to date. Stop guessing and know the answers. Have you ever been unsure about a cost and just shrugged it off and thought, I'm sure it'll be okay, or maybe I'll figure it out later? Maybe when purchasing another round of drinks or saying yes to that meal out. Then after a series of these and actually looking at your balance and the bills you forgot about, you start to wonder what you've done. That's the lesson. The problem goes right back to when you made a decision about money without knowing anything about your finances. There is an easy fix, which becomes the most powerful finance tool in your arsenal. The budget. Knowing your balance, bills, debts, etc. is vital to making any financial decisions. So if you don't already have a place for all this information, start a budget. I have lots of videos about making and using budgets, so check out my channel for those. Taking this a step further, anytime you are unsure of something to do with your money or personal finance in general, then do some research, educate yourself. Look into investment funds, state pension contributions, available personal grants, cryptocurrency, NFTs. Having more knowledge is always a good thing. With everything else in place, you can have a plan for every penny. Literally, every penny. And it feels great. Knowing what all of your money is doing, deciding where you're putting it, how it's going to be used, and knowing that whatever comes up, you have a plan. It really does let you sit down and relax in a soft, pillowy cushion of financial control and stability. Now I use a zero-based budget every month. A big part of that is having sinking funds. I look at anything I don't have to pay for every month, but know that I will have to pay for at some point and put money aside for it. It means I have pots of money sitting there ready for anything that comes up. So think about how you manage your money. Get some nice financial goals to work towards and give zero-based budgeting a go. Despite what they say, credit cards aren't all bad. Credit card debt is, of course, a problem for many. And because of that, the advice is never to touch a credit card. If we look at these figures from a study by Forbes, almost half of people, 44%, get their first credit card between 18 and 24 years of age. The average UK consumer spends £333.11 each month on credit cards, with an average credit card debt per person ringing in at £1,174.62. However, I have used credit cards for a long time. I pay them off in full, have paid no interest to any of them, and have been able to use them to increase my credit score. I also get, on average, £250 back as cashback from my American Express card every year. So they have cost me nothing, and in fact, I have earned money from them. It comes back to some of the earlier lessons about understanding and making wise financial choices. Credit cards are not inherently bad. It comes down to how you use them. Use facts and logic instead of emotions to make smart money choices. How many times have you regretted an impulse purchase or spent money on a credit card to make yourself feel better on a stressful day? If we look back and imagine the average person has over £1,000 debt on their credit card to pay, how many of those purchases would have been made if the spender considered the purchase based on the facts of their current personal finances rather than their emotionally driven purchase? I understand that won't be the case every time, but I think you can probably think of some examples right now of less impressive ways you have used your money and put that down to emotions. The lesson? Try to have good foundational knowledge and use that when making any decisions about money. It's not about holding back and missing out. It's about making good decisions now to keep us financially prepared and stable in the future. If you want to hear some simple and actionable steps you can take to make more money, then check out my video over here. Hit the like button if you found this video interesting, subscribe for more personal finance tips, and thank you for watching. Bye.